My remake of LEGO LOCO is finally here and it is ready to play right now. Well, wait until this video is over at least, and then you can play it. Over the past 7 months, I've been working on a remake of LEGO LOCO built from scratch in Unity, and it is finally playable. During this project, I worked on the building system, the minifigs, animals, cars, postcard making, and of course, the trains. Those damn trains. If you go over to the itch page, link is in the description, you can download the game and play it as if it was 1998 all over again. It's currently available for Windows and Linux, with further platform support being TBD. I'd highly recommend using the itch app when accessing the game, at least a short while after release, as I'm still actively updating and fixing the game, and that'll help you stay up to date. And you probably want to stay up to date because the game still has a few issues here and there, or just simply missing features altogether. So I thought it's for the best if I went through the issues now, and so people aren't confused when they see a certain feature missing or broken. Okay, people will still be confused and wonder where it is, but you get the idea. So first things first, let's talk about the trains, as people seem to absolutely love them. Before I go too deep, I want to say that these things are an absolute mess, and I'm honestly surprised I was able to get them working in the way that I did at all. Because they have so many different interactions, like the depots, bridges, or tunnels, I had to think of clever ways to include this in my code, and boy did I not think of anything clever. These trains need a serious rewrite to get working properly, but at this point I don't want to sink in all that time, and I feel like if I try to change anything, it'll all come crumbling down. So let's take a look at the bridges, for example. These are something I am super proud of because they actually look fairly decent. The train enters from the side, goes up onto the bridge, and back down on the other side. How I achieved this was rather messy, but at the same time, absolutely fine. At the entrance to the bridge on each side, there are 2 triggers, and when the train passes through them, it simply toggles an offset for the sprite, making them go up or down, and because it's all hidden by a mask, it looks great. So the train isn't actually moving up at all, collider and everything is still on the floor, but the train looks like it's going across the bridge. But I was running into a few issues with these during their development. The first thing was that if the train entered the bridge, raised its sprite, and then reversed out the same way, it would float above the tracks until it hit another bridge, which was obviously not ideal. That's why there is 2 triggers at the entrance, instead of 1. The next issue was that the trains passing through underneath the bridge on a different track would sometimes hit the colliders, thinking they were entering a bridge, and fly off. I fixed these by making the triggers very small and precise, so that only a train actually driving across the bridge would hit them. But how do the trains actually know how to travel across a bridge when the pathfinding can't see across the gap? Well, that was also simple. I just added a new variable to the train's movement that allows it to look ahead a certain amount and aim for that target instead. So when the train enters the bridge collider, it tells it to look forward a few spaces and drive along like a normal track. I also added this feature to the train's movement when it starts on an invalid tile, like if it stopped in the middle of the bridge. If that's the case, it'll look ahead a few tiles and see where it can go. I ended up using this feature with the tunnels as well later on. So what's still broken with them? Well, if you have a train stopped on top of the bridge, and a track running along underneath it, it'll get confused and try to drive forward, stopping immediately because it ran out of tracks. How did I fix this? Well, I guess by including the track direction to the tiles so the train knows it's instantly invalid and tries to look ahead. And this is exactly what I did. The A-star tiles now have a new vector for their direction that only the train uses, and so the trains can only go in the direction the track is designed for. I only used this feature for the single pieces, but it fixed a surprising amount of interactions, so it's good for now. Another issue related to the bridge is the fact that trains could collide with other trains passing underneath as if they were driving straight at each other. To fix this, I probably need to do some layer trickery to move the collisions up to a different layer, only colliding with other trains also on the bridge. I'll get to that at some point. Then came the depots. These are currently rather half-baked, but can now spawn trains out of all directions, which was a massive success. Basically what I did was added a new field to the train's navigation to say whether or not it was inside a tunnel, because when it enters the depot, it shouldn't keep driving through the back or stop the train for the rest of the cars. It's only supposed to fold into itself. And to get this to work was another absolute battle. At the back of every depot, there's another trigger that tells the train that it's in a tunnel and to stop moving, but allow the rest of the train to also drive inside. I then also added an overlap check to see if the train was spaced out enough from the car ahead of it. So if they're all bunched up inside a tunnel, they would come out again one at a time and look pretty normal. This was a huge achievement to get working and looks pretty damn close to the original. It uses the same masking technique as the bridge, and the cars pile in and out of the depots. But once they're all inside the depot, it's supposed to close, remove the train from the tracks, and save it to the depot's menu to be sent out again. but I haven't got any of that in place just yet. So depots can spawn their train and basically do nothing until you inspect the train and zap it. Getting this system right was an absolute nightmare, as they kept either driving out as one blob, crashing into the back wall inside the depot, 3 cars would act normally and the 4th would just drive off by itself, all sorts of jank, and I'm sure if you really try, you can recreate this still for yourself. But please don't, enjoy what works, I can't take any more of this suffering. The tunnels were very similar to the depot, but didn't take me anywhere near as long because they used mostly the same code. When the train enters the tunnel, it's given a short distance to look ahead, as they're supposed to go outside the grid, which would cause all sorts of issues. They drive off the map and stop, and when all 4 parts are inside, it waits a bit and then teleports the train to another random tunnel on the map. Or, if it can't find any others, just sends it back out the same one. These also had the same issues that leaving the depot did, and they kept getting stuck inside the tunnel in an infinite teleport loop, or wouldn't update their targets and would drift across the screen back to the tunnel they just came from, disregarding anything in their way. So I eventually got most of the train's issues fixed. We may still see some weirdness in the game. These trains are hanging on by a thread, and with every feature I add, they just get worse. If you do have issues when you play the game, let me know and I'll try to fix them as soon as possible. And because people were letting me know of issues early on, I've been able to fix issues as soon as they appear. One big one was the fact that when you played the game on a screen that was wider than 16:9, the toy box was unreachable, as the UI would scale off the screen. As I don't have an ultra wide, I never experienced it myself, but thanks to a user commenting over on my itch page, I was alerted to it, and within an hour I released a fix that forces the game's camera to be rendered in a 16:9 ratio, and makes the UI scale to the screen's height if it's wider than normal, or the width if it's taller than normal. If I get around to adding a panning camera, maybe I'll change it so you can zoom in and see a wider view still, but that's a future decision to make. Okay, so what's still missing that isn't about trains? Well, this is partly about trains again, but it's still not possible to send or receive postcards in the same way you would in the original. Haven't yet got the feature in the painter to drag the postcard into the box or the album, so for the meantime instead, if you press the album book picture, it just stores whatever it is in the painter at the time to the album book. I added a placeholder save button to the album too, so you can save it to your PC, and that's stored in the game's data file, found under appdata/local-low on Windows or config/unity for Linux. I also don't have the minifig controls in the game yet, as in the original you could pick them up, move them about and tell them where to go. This shouldn't take me too long to do, I just need to set aside some time for it. I get to work adding these features in at some point, but I do also want to work on another smaller project, so why don't we wrap this video up by hopping into the Subscriber Wars arena while I yap about what my plans are going forward with both LEGO LOCO and this channel as a whole. So, there's only so much more left for LEGO LOCO. And to be honest, most of the features and fixes aren't interesting enough for their own video, or even another compilation video discussing them, and I am excited to work on new projects. I already know the next 2 projects I'm going to be taking on, one short one and then a longer one, which you'll hear about in due time, but this doesn't mean that it's the end for LEGO LOCO. I still want to make the remake as accurate as possible, and then my goal is, once I'm happy with it, release the source code to the project so that anyone can do whatever they please with it. Maybe even have a little community working together on one large project. Who knows at this point, but what I do know is a fair bit of the game will probably need to be rewritten, so take this as an advance warning. Let me know if that interests you in the comments below, be great to hear your thoughts on this. But for now, we're down to the final few subscribers left with Tom Proudfoot, Charles Darwin and Christian Kerestigian. Tom takes Charles down, looks like he's got this one won, and okay, well I upgraded this project to a new version of Cinemachine and the winner's camera's broken, but well done Tom, you won this one. And that'll do for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the game. Link is in the description. If you want to see some more content, go ahead and check out my Patreon page. Quick shout out to Lav12, the newest member over there. Thank you for your support. Remember to like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. If you find a bug, make sure you leave your comment on the itch page. I'll be able to find it easier over there. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.